basic steps. Basic steps are the initial elements that we have to do in our forró dance. We're gonna use two types of counting and two types of shift of weight inside these countings. The first counting will be the 1-2 counting, or the tempo or the slow, depending on how you want to call it. We're basically gonna do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1 and 2. The main idea here is that we're always shifting the weight, making sure that all our weight is just on one leg, which means that I have to be able to keep my balance or in the right leg or in the left leg. For both followers and leader, it's exactly the same movement, so right now we don't have to make a differentiation between the two of us. The second counting will be the 1, 2, 3 contra-tempo, or the quick, slow. So we're gonna do like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Here we notice that we count 1 and 2 in the same pacing, and on the 3, which will be the slow or the tempo, is where we have a little pause that we can breathe and wait for the next step. So pay attention to that we're not just doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're doing 1, 2, pause, 1, 2, pause, and 1, 2, pause. These two types of shift of weight will be important to start our understanding of the basic step. To understand the basic step, first we have to understand that we have to walk. So we have to be able to take a step to the front or to the back and stop the movement, and then take another step to the front or to the back. This main system of just walking front and back will allow us to pay attention to the shift of weight and which leg has our balance. Then after understanding the shift of weight and that we have to walk to the front and to the back, now we can start applying the actual form of the basic step. So in forró, we're gonna have the left leg that goes to the front and the right leg that goes to the back. And then we go back to the center, and the right leg goes to the back, or the left leg goes to the front. And this idea of having one extremity receiving the left leg and the other extremity receiving the right leg will allow us to develop the basic step in a more natural and easy way. The other important thing to understand is that we're basically doing the same movement for both followers and leader. So it's actually a mirrored movement. So if I go with my left leg to the front, she goes with her right leg to the back. If I go with my right leg to the back, she goes with the left leg to the front. And this basically creates the motion of the basic step when we dance together. So if we put the counting inside this basic structure of the shift of weight, we're gonna have something like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Now what we have to pay attention to is that even though the movement's really fluid and has a flow that makes the movement happen, I'm still thinking about always having the weight in just one leg at a time. So to help you out, sometimes it can be useful to just really take off your foot from the floor to make sure that you're making the full shift of weight and having just one leg at a time, receiving the weight and shifting and making the motion happen. So the actual movements when we're dancing together will happen in the close embrace, where we have the left hand of the leader connected with the right hand of the follower, the right hand of the leader connected on the back of the follower, and the left hand and arm of the follower connected on the back of the leader. So we are in this position, this position, this position, this position, and always making sure that we have the right leg in between each other. Right leg of the follower in the center, right leg of the leader also in the center. And this will allow us to make the shift of weight together. So together, the basic step will look like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. To start the basic step inside the closing brace, you have basically to choose, in this case the leader, which leg you're going to start walking to the front or to the back. To do this, we can start shifting the weight in this low tempo that we talked about before. 1, 2, 1, 2, and stop. Making sure that you have your full weight in one leg and the other leg is free together with the other leg of the follower. If my left leg is free, I can start my basic step to the front, her basic step to the back, and we go 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Or if I start my movement with my weight on my left leg and her weight on her right leg, I can start my basic step to the back and her basic step to the front, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And like this, when we are together, we shift the weight, decide which leg is going to start the movements, and go to the back, or I go to the front. This is what I call the basic step number 1, but we also have a basic step number 2 that is actually connected through the hands. In the same way that we're counting 1, 2, 3 and shifting the weights, we're going to start exactly like this basic step number 1. Together, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. In the same way that I choose which leg is going to start, the leg that is free is going to take a step backwards and back to the center, and the other one backwards and back to the center. So we're going to have a movement like this for the basic step number 2. 7, 8, 10, 1, 2, center, back and center, and 1, 2, 3. Quick, quick, slow. 1, 2, 3. Contra, tempo. 7, 8, 10, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. So when we dance forró, we're basically changing between these two stances, the basic step number 1 and the basic step number 2. To make the change, the leader can basically choose to open the space and change the connection from the back to the hands. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3.
Corri pra casa, limpei meu rico em cruzeta, com peito, beco, baeta e a fragata de cabicho. Vou pro cangaço, pensa mãe, pensa pai, vou mostrar que rouba a moça, dessa vez a casa cai. Cheguei lá de madrugada, subi pra ela o vinho, ela veio de espera, pai faz pouco foi dormir. Deixa ele agarrar no som no rio, que é melhor de nós fugir. Deixa ele agarrar no som no rio, que é melhor de nós fugir. Roubei a d'água e cumpri meu juramento no dia do casamento. Zé Lotero veio, fizemos as paz, ele então disse sincero, batize de Zé Lotero, o truguero que nasceu. Irmão, a menina morre, cava da fé. Mas você pode se esconder em terra debaixo da cama que eu vou ficar na boca da fada.